Artists strive to express themselves through the medium of their choice, and certain artists use painting to address problems and situations which were prevalent at the time of the painting. The culture and history of Japan in the 1700s is seamlessly portrayed through the painting The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara by Utagawa Toyokuni I, and by accurately portraying the daily lives and culture of Japanese inhabitants. The painting is a relevant portrayal of Japanese culture and history through its recognition of Japanese social classes, Chinese influences, and its geographic isolation. Social classes were very powerful and controlled much of people's lives, and the painting successfully shows how social classes appeared throughout an ordinary day. The Chinese culture influenced many aspects of the Japanese daily lives and overall culture, what the painting represents through various art techniques and illustrated events such as simplicity expressed in the artwork. While Chinese culture crossed over and mixed with Japanese lifestyles and traditions, the geographic isolation of Japan was a major aspect in how the culture unfolded and how the people of Japan ended up developing traditions and culture.
In Utagawa Toyokuni's first painting, the events of everyday life and social classes were clearly portrayed, from the beggars to the nobles. The country and its people were kept within the boundaries of an intricate social hierarchy during the Edo period. The higher class consisted of wealthy merchants, aristocrats, samurai, and high-ranking courtesans, while the lower classes consisted of geishas, servants, and monks. The higher-ranking officers in the social hierarchy, called shoguns, were the people that were entrusted with keeping the restriction of movement within the social classes. During the Edo period, the samurai were ranked right behind the shoguns in the social hierarchy. Each person had his or her own specific position in society. Farmers were right behind the samurai in the social rankings. Farmers would be able to work for themselves after giving 20% of their product to the shoguns. The craftspeople's economic activities created a division between them and merchants. Their jobs were more prevalent to the advancement of Japanese innovations and economic advances. Merchants were on the latter part of the social hierarchy, who were in a very good position to make lots of money and become very wealthy off the productivity of others. Throughout the Edo period, the merchants were able to climb slowly rung by rung up the social ladder. In the painting, The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara by Utagawa Toyokuni I, it is easily noticeable on how the social classes differed in the Edo period of ancient Japan.
The influence of China on Japan had a major effect on the success of Japanese culture and art. China became one of the first international contacts that Japan had because of the opening of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was used for trade between the two civilizations. The art of China was based on the three major religions, Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism, as well as on nature and humans. As a result of their trading connections with China, Japan adopted these themes and used them within their simplistic paintings. In the painting, The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara, the people were portrayed in a common traditional way. The traditionalistic way of displaying Japanese lives further depicted the simplicity. Japan's culture was affected by the Chinese as well. Buddhism was brought into the country of Japan through the process of trade on the Silk Road and began to be practiced as well because of the success it had in China. In addition, the organization of the Japanese road system, bureaucracy, and other government systems were direct copies of that of China. The culture of Japan helped the country stay together during the isolation from the rest of the world because of their contact with China. Between the mid-1600s to late 1800s, Japan was isolated from society, which was portrayed in the painting The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara through the samurai. The samurai are a class of warriors whose duty is to protect the country. Within the class, there is a social hierarchy with the shogun or the leader at the top, and everyone else had a lesser position. In the painting, the samurai were hidden from view of the commoners and were holding what looked to be weapons. Because the samurai were hidden from view, they therefore symbolized the representation of the government isolation for most of the world. The isolation of the government of Japan occurred from 1603 to 1867, when it closed its trade contacts for most of the world, excluding China, Korea, and Holland. However, the isolation led to a peaceful time period and development of economy and culture. They were able to maintain a stable government and keep everyone under control without battle. The isolation of Japan from society was a current event when the painting The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara was created and therefore was displayed within the piece.
Geographic isolation played a crucial role in helping the culture develop in Japan, and the painting The View of Cherry Blossoms at New Yoshiwara shows the isolations and its roles very well. Chinese influences can be seen in many aspects of the painting, and this showed how culture of China was vital in establishing Japanese culture. The social classes established in Japan controlled what many people did during the day, as shown in the painting. Using social classes, Chinese influences, and geographic isolation, Utagawa Toyokuni I was able to accurately portray a day in a typical Japanese city. The view of cherry blossoms and New Yashiwara is able to show Japanese culture in the 1700s by showing what daily life in a Japanese city would be.
Everybody was